Let me introduce you about today's topic, research methodology in computing. Then, as you all know, we are facing unique set of challenges globally. In the undergraduate period, university students often have to submit their research papers as their final year assignment. But the students face their great difficulties in presenting their research papers without proper guidelines. As a solution for this, our Faculty of Applied Sciences, Sabaragamuwa University has organized a research program to competent and theoretically informed in how to prepare for their final year research. So without any delay, I would like to invite our resource person for this webinar today. I would like to welcome Dr. Pubuduven Jayasena on behalf of our organizing committee. Dr. Pubudu is a senior lecturer of the Department of Computing and Information Systems of Sabaragamuwa University. Over to you, madam.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me for this session. Okay, so. Okay, so I hope that the audience in here is most of them are in the computing field. So today I mainly discuss about the research methodology in computer science field. Okay, so some of the slides in here I extracted from the Department of Computer Science, University of Liverpool. Under there, some of the slides are extracted from there. So that's why I cited them first. Okay. Okay, so what are the learning outcomes of this session? Today, I will give you to understand what is the research and what are the research methods in the computer science, and also to be able how to plan and how to conduct your own research. I know that the applied science, most of them are in our department, and I saw that some of them are in other faculties as well. So you all in our faculty, you all have a that compulsory module for the research. Okay. So then how you are going to plan that one and how you are going to conduct this research. Okay, so mainly I will discuss this point today to be able to communicate its results. Okay, so these how we are going to communicate after your results. Okay, so these things I mainly discuss today's session. That means today first I will explain you what is a research. Okay, and how you are going to plan your computer related research. And after that I will explain you how to search something from the how to conduct your literature review and what are the tools that you can use for that, as well as finally I will explain you how to write a research paper. Okay, according to these gathering all these stuff together, and finally how you can write a research paper and how you can publish these works in a reputed journals as well as the conferences. Okay. So what is a research? So research we can define like this in two ways. If it is a noun, it is a scholarly or scientific investigation. Or we can say it is a close, careful study. It is a noun base. Or when the research, we can say it is in a verb. As a, we can say it is a study that something thoroughly so as to present in a detailed manner. So that is the research. Okay. So noun and the verb, you can find out the difference between those two. Okay. So now it is a sign. Basically, we can say, so next page, Wikipedia. So this is the Wikipedia explanation about the research. It is a active, systematic process of inquiry. okay, in order to discover something, interpret something of the behaviors, okay, and sometimes we are going to make a practical applications with the help of these things, okay. So that's the research, main idea about the research, or we can say it is a collection of information about a particular subject, okay. So we are going to find out a very systematic process. First, we find out a research problem, and then we find out the systematic process of that one. And after that, we are going to present that one. Okay, so that this is the Wikipedia explanation about that. Okay, scholarly or scientific investigation. So this is the Wikipedia guideline. And also we can say original investigation undertaken in order to gain knowledge and understanding. Okay, so that's the idea about the research. Okay, so then before moving on to this stuff, okay, I will explain you how to conduct important points of the computer science research. Okay, give me a second. I just want to open another document for that. Okay, how to do a good research. Okay. First thing, I will explain. I created this one to explain these things very clearly. So how to do a good research, how to start a good research. That's a very important thing. So when I am conducting and I am supervising my students, first day in our first meeting, they asked me about some areas. What am I going to do? Okay, so first thing, you should have to find out the interesting area. So that's the very, very important thing. Okay, so in the computing field, you can see there are many kinds of researchers are there. Okay, so first you should have to choose the interesting area for your research. So relevance for practical applications, area that has not yet been explored thoroughly, okay, an area that correspond to your past experience. Okay, so these things very important when you are finding an area for the research. First, you should have to find the area. For example, in my research that most of them know about, okay, my research area is cloud computing, big data applications, blockchain, computer networking, like that. Okay, so those who are interested, first you have to find out the area that I am going to do my research in computer networking area, and I am going to do my research in the cloud computing. First, likewise, you should have to choose the interesting area for your research. After this discussion, I will show you what are the trending areas in this decade. In the IEEE Computer Society, they identify some of the trending areas for this new decade. Okay, so I will share that document with you. Under there, you can find there are various kinds of areas are there. So you can find out interesting area. So when you find out the interesting area, so the second and third point also very important. Okay, so that the area has not yet been explored thoroughly. Okay, so now when you are finding out the new research area, okay, you should have to find that is it a novel area. Okay, so some of the areas in computer science these days are not in touch. Okay, but some of the areas are very trending areas. So when you're finding an area, so you have to clearly identify that one. And also area that correspond to your past experience. That's also very good. So I know that in our department as well as the applied science, that the physical department, sorry, I don't have any aware of the other students, their curriculum, but in our students, applied science students, I know that they already have that the industry and the mini projects. Okay, so if you follow a project in the mini project, as well as if you have some industry experience, okay, so those areas, if you can tally those areas with your research project, then it's very important. So area that correspond to your past experience, then it's very helpful for you to conduct your research work. Okay, so like, then how you are going to find out the now first you find out the research area. That means I will get my research area, because then it's easy for me to explain, but it may be different for others, but the concept is same. So now I select my research area that I'm going to do a cloud computing. Okay, so then first the thing is you should have to read many papers, books, and articles, video tutorials, videos related to the cloud. First, you should have to get a general idea, that the basic knowledge about that area. So if you are interested to do in the big data analytics or machine learning, first you have to read the basic papers, okay, survey papers related to that area. First read those things. And then when you are doing a research, it should be a novel concept. Okay, so you are going to investigate something. Okay, so then there may be a research gap. When you are reading papers, when you are reading books, you will get there may be some of these things are not going to address. Okay, this is the research gap under there. So reading papers, finally you have to evaluate the research gap of that area. And then you can formulate the problem statement. So this is the first task that you should have to do when you start a research. First, find out the novel area, okay, and then read papers, books related to that area, identify the research gap, and then formulate using that research gap, and then formulate the one problem statement. Okay, so when you are, if it is a 1 year research, okay, in the first 2 months, okay, in the first month, you should have to do a literature review of that area. I'm going to explain more about these things in my later slides. What are the sources, how you are going to find out, how to do the literature review, and those things I'm going to discuss today. The first thing, you have to familiarize with this literature review, and then identify the research gap and formulate the problem statement. Okay, so now research area is okay. Okay, so actually after this problem statement, first you have to find out the research area, and then identify an interesting research topic, a problem for which there's no good solution. So the next part, research area. So then most of the students questions asked from me is in the proposal defense. Okay, so is it okay, madam, that I change my topic in the mid review and in the final defense? Exactly. So when we find, but you can't change your research area. Okay, after your proposal defense, you can't change your research area, but you can change your research topic. So that's because when we are doing our research in the research proposal, okay, so it's still in the general. Okay, so it is still generalized topic, but when you are doing more work on that, we can find a specific topic. Okay, so definitely most of them, their topic is changed after the research proposal. Topic means the specific topic, but you can't change your research area. okay, and the basic general area, but the topic can be changed. So after you read and find out the research gap, then the next thing you have to find out the research topic. For that, you should have to find this problem statement. For that, you must be familiar in general with your research area. Depending on your past experience, this may require much reading. Read surveys and overview article. First, to identify an interesting research topic, first you should have to read more survey papers, more overview articles. Okay, so then only you can find out the specific research topic. Okay, and to identify the research topic, so there are various kinds of sources are there. Okay, so you have to, these are the IEEE, Transaction, ACM, Science Direct. Okay, so these are the good journals that today I will show you how to find out a good journal paper, how to find out a good conference. Okay, so those details also I will share with you. Only you have to look at these good and the well-recognized journals and the conferences, and IEEE conferences is well-recognized. So likewise, under there you can get more papers. And then Google also, it's very interesting and very helpful tool for you to find out these things. Okay, so using Google, using some keywords, you can find a research area. And another very important thing, you can talk to other people knowledgeable in your research area about your readings and questions. Okay, so for that, you know, there are various kinds of research hubs are there, research gate, so research meetings are there. Okay, so you can connect those resources and you can find out the similar people, similar researchers under your domain. Okay, and contact those authors and get a copy of that papers in ResearchGate. Sometimes now you find out the research area, and then after that you find out your specific research topic. Okay, so now you are going to get more details about that. Okay, so then the very interesting tool is the ResearchGate. Under there you can connect the same authors that is related to your research, and some of the papers you can get it from there, read and get more knowledge about that. Okay, and in the process of doing this, you may find that there's no good survey papers, you may write such a paper. Okay, so then this is very important thing. Okay, so I think in my students also I'll explain this one very actually I explained that first thing, you should have to write a good survey paper. Okay, so first, now in the 1 year research period, in the first 2 months, you are going to do a more literature review. So when I some of the in your research problem that they said that there are no papers in this area. Okay, so if there are no good survey paper, then very the advantage of you can write a good survey paper on that area. Okay, so then after that, show that your ideas work. Okay, so now you find out a good research topic, you find out a good research problem under there. Okay, so then how you can show that your idea works. Okay, for the how to prove that one. Okay, for first thing, you can apply it to some examples, realistic case studies. Okay, in order to check whether this new idea works. Now problem statement is there, so then you propose a new solution for that problem. Okay, so then next thing, in any research, okay, so it should be evaluated. Okay, it should be evaluated. It should be, we should have to verify that this is a good solution. So how you can show that your idea is work? Okay, the one thing that you can do is you can apply it to some examples like realistic case studies. Okay, in order to check whether the new idea works, you should always try it out with some small example first. Okay, and another thing that you can do this one using some prototype implementation. Okay, so for example, some of the research in the computing field, okay, so you can't develop the real environment for that, for the research purposes, but for the production and the economical purposes, you should have to develop the actual environment. But for the research purposes, you can't develop it is as a real environment. For that, you should have to develop the prototype implementation of that. Okay, so then you can verify your solution using these prototype implementation. You can use some simulation tools to verify your system. Okay, so do simulation studies and then find out some metrics to evaluate your system. Okay, and then you can evaluate. After that, you can represent. After that, you can write up your results in some papers which make these results accessible to the interest experts. Okay, so these are the things that you can do in your research. First, find out the research area and then find out the research problem statement. Okay, and then find a good solution for that to overcome that problem, overcome those research issues. Okay, and then validate that one using some, you can apply it to the real environment or you can apply it to the simulation environment, and also you can develop a prototype implementation and verify your solution. Okay, after that, okay, when you are evaluating, okay, you can get a results from and you can compare these results with the existing solutions and then present it in a research paper and publish it in a good journal or conference paper. If this is a very good product, then you can apply for the patent as well. Okay, so likewise, after find out a good solution and after you validate your system and you find it maybe have the good performance than the existing solution, then you can go for the publication purposes. Okay, so then that's the overall idea of the how you can start your research. And this is very, very important aligning. Okay, I will explain this one because when you start a research, okay, and when the first thing you have to give a research proposal. In the research proposal, so this is the main idea. First, you have to find out the problem statement. Under there, you have to find out the research questions, basic research questions of that problem statement. Okay, so I will show you some of the examples for this one later. It's depend on your different kinds of research. And then there may be a main objective. So what is the main objective of my research? So then you have to find out the main objective. Under this main objective, there can be some sub-objectives also there. Okay, so then each and every research question should be answered through this research objective. Okay, so this aligning must be first you have to develop in your proposal stage. First, find out the problem statement. Okay, when you read in papers and evaluating the gaps of that papers, then you can find out the problem statement under there. Okay, then this problem statement should map with your main objective. Okay, And your problem statement, there are some research questions already there in the problem statement. There, so then some research questions arise. How we are going to evaluate this system, okay? And then what kind of data set and what kind of metrics that I am going to use. So likewise, there are various kinds of research questions arise, okay? And these each and every research question should be answers with the specific sub-objectives, okay? So when your proposal statement, first you should have to develop this model. Then there may be no need to worry about your proposal defense. Okay, after you can map these everything together. Okay, so that means you identify correctly, you identify your research. Okay, so in the final defense or after you evaluate, finish your research, then each and every these research objectives should be mapped with your research method. Okay, so that means in the research first objective, how you are going to achieve, okay, in what kind of method that you are using to achieve this research objective, one, and how you are going to achieve the research objective 2, research objective 3. So likewise, okay, so the finally you should have to tally your research methods with these research objectives. Okay, so that's the thing that I want to discuss first. Okay, so the next thing that I want to share with you. Okay, so this one. This is the IEEE 2022 report. Okay, I will share this one with you later. Okay, under there, I told you that when you find out the research area, it should be an emerging area. Okay, the area that is not discussed very much in the previously. Okay, so the novel area must, when you find out, okay, you should have to find the novel area, because you know that the computing field is that most of the emerging areas are connected with every second of the, there are new things added. Okay, so when you find out a new area for the research in the computing field, okay, you must have to follow the what are the emerging areas under there. Okay, so this is the 2022 report. In there, they identify the new research areas. Okay, so these are the new research areas they identify. So if you are going to do a computing based research, okay, so these are the 23 technologies. Okay, you can do a research. Okay, so they categorize into some market category technologies, human capital, and the policies likewise. So first we will look at these technologies. Okay, computer vision and the pattern recognition. So that's the one good area you can start your research. Machine learning and intelligence system, that most of them are doing their research under this domain, machine learning and intelligence system. But when I so that most of them are only focus on this test mining, like but they are nowadays not only the test mining, multi-model mining. Okay, and how to integrate this machine learning concept with the intelligence systems. Okay, so this is the another tremendous area in the one student is raised hand. If you have any questions. Okay, so later I will give you a question and answer sessions, and there we can discuss more things. Okay, and then the yes, Vasantan, if you have any questions. Vasantan. Okay. And the big data analytics, natural user interface, 3D printing, and high performance computing. Okay, so that's also very HPC, high performance computing, 3D printing. And the next, it's my area, cloud computing. And also it's very emerging area these days. If you are doing the research in this field, you will be having a lot of opportunities when you go to the industry as well. Okay, so cloud computing, Internet of Things, networking and interconnectivity, software-defined networking. So if you are interested to do your research in the computer networking field, okay, so nowadays it's not the hardware-based networking. We are focusing on the software-defined networking. So cloud data centers and most of the networking architectures, they are based on the software-defined networking. Okay, and 3D integrated circuits, and the universal memory, quantum computing, device and nanotechnology. So these are the areas in the technologies. Okay, so I will share this document with you. Under there you can read more about this concept. And massive online open courses, so human capital. So if you are interested in e-learning and those stuff, so this is also another area. And some policies, security issues, security cost cutting issues, open intellectual property movements, sustainability, and some computational biology and the bioinformatics, medical robotics. So this is also a very good research area if anyone is interested in the embedded systems, robotics, okay, medical robotics also. Another good area you can start your research. Okay, so these are the 23 technologies that the 2022 that the IEEE Computer Society they identify. So I hope that if you are interested, if you are going to start your research, okay, so please make sure to start under these categories. Okay, so some of them I saw that some of them in here in the first years and the second years, so they will be having their research start on fourth year. So up now onwards you can start to read articles, read papers, and search about these areas and find out the most interesting area for you to do your research. Then it will be helpful for you to carry out your research when you come at the fourth year and the third year as well. Okay, so these are the areas. I will share this one with you. Okay. Okay, so then I will move on to the next part of today's session. How to do a literature search, research method, how to do the literature searches. Okay, so actually the research methodology is a very vast area. Within 1 hour time period, it's difficult for me to cover everything. So I select only the some specific subtopics. If you are interested, later I can do more webinar series on the other topics. Likewise, publishing your work and how to conduct the methodology part. Only today I will discuss only the literature review part, methodology part, and the what kind of tools that there are various kinds of that. I think most of them are in the computing field, though they are know about this, but some of them still not aware of. There are a lot of software tools that you can use to help for you to conduct your research. Okay, so those things also later I will explain, but today I am only focus on the how to do a good literature review, how to start a research in the computing field, and as well as some of them in here in the 4th years as well. So they may finish their research, so then they are going to publish their papers. So how to write a research paper. So only these things that I'm going to discuss today. So there are a lot of other things that we discuss this in the research methodology part. So the literature sources and what are the database search and the search engines, publishers, literature databases, web search engines, and the queries and the comparison of these things. Now we are going to discuss. So searching for literature. What are you trying to find out? Okay, try to specify exactly what you need to know. And what type of information do you want to find? An answer to a specific questions. An overview of the subject area. A specific document. Okay, so when you are searching a literature, what do you need this information? Okay, so how quickly do you need the information? Okay, so immediately you can get it from the internet. In a day, you can get it from the library. Okay, and in a week, some interlibraries, likewise, you can get it. Okay, so searching a literature, you have to think about what are you trying to find out? What type of information do you want to find? Okay, what do you need this information for the literature review or short essays? Okay, so likewise, why do you need this information? How quickly do you need the information? First, you have to focus on these things. Okay, so consider the following tasks. Okay, so you want to obtain a paper copy of this following article. Okay, so actually this is one of the group discussion, but I think this time is not limited for these things. Okay, so I will share this paper. So find out which other publication refer to the article above. How would you accomplish these things? Okay, so first you can get a one paper. Okay, and there are some other publication refer to the article above. Okay, so how you are going to accomplish this one? Okay, so searching for a literature. Okay, so you can do this task later, find out this paper. Okay, and refer this article and which other publications that refer to this article. Okay, so this is a one task that you can do later. Okay, so then what are the sources for literature on the internet? Okay, what are the sources that we can get the find out the literature? So there are various kinds of freely available collections are there. Okay, so publisher websites, literature databases are there. Okay, so I will share these informations with you. Authors submit papers, the conference journals for peer review. If accepted, the paper is revised by the authors and submitted to this conference and the journal. The paper is processed to bring into the publisher's format. The paper is then included in this publisher's database. Okay, and then they are made available online via the publisher's website and possibly published in printed form. Not necessary in that order, most of them. And collect the bibliographic information from several publishers and add additional information and then link back to the publisher for full test of papers. Okay, so this is how interrelationship with these sources, how these papers are in the publisher database. So this is the interrelationship of these sources. And these are the databases and search engines. Okay, so most of the university libraries has this subscription to many publisher databases. Okay, so you can nowadays there are some other ways also you can get these papers. These are the most relevant publication subscriptions, publishers databases. Okay, so I only recommended these things. So when you are doing a research, okay, so these are the good database search engine. These are the good publishers that you can get papers related to that area. SEM, okay, and IEEE Explorer and Science Direct, Springer Link, okay, and Willy Into Science. Full test of Willy journals and books are there. Okay, so some of them you may need some login details. Okay, so now these are the Scoopers, Web of Knowledge, and the Metalib. Okay, so these are the some other databases that you can get details. Actually, so these are not in free. Okay, some of the papers you can't get it from freely. Some of them are open access papers, you can get it from there, but some of them you can't get it there. But there are some other ways that same papers that you can get it. You can contact those authors through ResearchGate and you can get it from there. But these are the very well-known publishers in computing field that you can get papers. And these are the web search engines freely available one. Sideseer, okay, and Google Scholar, and the search journals in the Science Direct. So these are the another one. Windows Live Search academiclive.com. So these are the databases and search engines are freely available. Okay, and then literature databases cover a vast number of journals and conferences, but they do not cover all journals and conferences. They do not cover textbooks, handbooks, collection of articles in book form. And they do not cover workshops and similar scientific meetings. They do not cover technical reports. So web search engines provide much better coverage of these types of publications. Okay, so then next thing, how you are going to query about this. Now you identify the best sources to do a good literature review. Okay, to get good sources to how we are going to get more papers. And then another very important thing, how to search terms is very important. Search terms might be simple, keywords, phrases, or consist of field identifiers, modifiers, operators, and keywords. Okay, so search terms, how we are going to search something through these freely available sources. Okay, so this is some other ways you can likewise mathematical induction and the asterisk sign, and author equal. Likewise you can find author like this, author sounds like this. So you can these are the some of the query search terms that you can use to find out the more things through the search engines. And the queries are typically constructed from search terms using Boolean operations or induction and mathematical. Induction or deduction, induction and not recruitment. So likewise using operators also you can use to query and get more details. Okay, so only the right keywords will correctly identify the useful information. Okay, so mode of search is very important. Okay, use a search term which is as specific as possible. Okay, cell microprocessor instead of cell. Use a search term is very, very important. Use additional criteria also. Publication date, year, type journal, language, publisher. Okay, so then you can get to narrow down your records. Okay, you are looking for all records related to the subject. Okay, so these are the, so that's very important thing. Only the right keyword you can get to identify the useful information. Okay, so for example, you are looking for a records related to the subject. Try alternative words. Microprocessors, computer processor, computer chips. Likewise, you can use the alternative words to find out. Try alternative spellings also. Okay, judgment. So likewise, alternative spellings. For the white areas, try wildcards. Okay, so gene asterisk for gene, genetics, genetically. Okay, so likewise, you can use some wildcards also to find out the more areas. Okay, and then constructing a query. Construct a query. Conducting a search. Search the databases, starting with the literature databases, then move into the web search engines. Okay, so now I explain you. First, you find out the research area, and then you now you have to going to find out the research gap under there. In that research area, now you find out what are the databases that I am going to search this research area. Then we identify ACM, IEEE, Science Direct, Scoopers. So these are the very good publishers that you can find out your area. And then you can use the Google and some other search engine also to find out in this research area using this kind of keywords. How can I use the keywords to find? Okay. So after that, now you find lot of papers under there. And next very important thing, record all references. Some databases allow export in a format that can be record important in Refworks or Endnote. You should have to use some kind of these data referencing mechanism for you to record all these things. Enough information for someone to be able to find it. After having searched 2 or 3 resources, review the progress of the search. 2 little relevant sources found so far. Modify the query. Okay, so record all useful references. Actually, Endnote is not a freely available. Today, I will give you another that the freely available reference management software for you. Okay, I will introduce that one. Okay, so then it will be helpful for you to record all useful references. Okay, so I will share that that reference management system. So this is the freely available reference management system. Endnote also good, but it's not freely available. But this is freely available thing, okay, mainly. So I hope in here, most of them are computing field. So it's better you today onwards start your store that they collect all your references through and in this mainly reference management system. Okay, so actually mainly it's very, very important after your reference management, citations and everything. It may be easy for you. It is a actually it's a freely available reference manager. Okay, so you can store, you can organize, you can note, and as well as you can share, you can cite all your references and research data in using this mainly. You can automatically generate your bibliographics, and you can collaborate easily with other researchers in the online. And you can easily import papers from other research softwares in using mainly. Okay, and you can find relevant papers based on what you are reading. Okay, here you can see you can find out relevant papers based on your reading. Okay, and another very important thing is under this reference management software in mainly is you can access your papers from anywhere online. That means in here you can create your free account. Okay, and then using this free account, there's a mobile application is there, in the desktop application is there, and you can put the extension into your browsers, and also there's an extension for the Microsoft Word. Okay, so access your papers, you can access these things from anywhere online. Okay, so as a computing related, when you are doing a computing related research, you must be smarter than the others. Okay, you should have to use these kind of software tools to organize your research. Okay, so now today I only discuss about this literature part. So now you start to find out your literature, find out your research topic, and now you are going to read more papers. Sometimes when you it may be not a, it may be article. Okay, so you should have to save this article. Okay, so then it's better you can put a extension in the web browser. Okay, and then you using the mainly you can save under there, you can organize everything. Okay, so all of them go to this website and create a login under there and install the desktop version as well as mobile versions. Okay, and try to work with the and try to organize your research papers under this mainly software. Okay, so then and another thing is Refworks and the Endnote also you can use to format and record the important in your research work. Okay, so I will share those detailed slide also if anyone is interested. Okay, so this is the Refworks. Okay, so actually Refworks is a web-based reference management system. Okay, and it allows to import references from online databases and other various sources. You can use these references in writing papers and automatically format the papers and bibliography in seconds. Okay, so this is also very important tool. And the next one is Endnote. Okay, so we will see next one. Endnote. Okay, so that's also very literature review, it's maybe easy for you to do. And another thing, it's not in that book. Another very good reference management tool is this one. Okay, Sotero is a free, easy to use tool to help you collect, organize, cite, and share your research. So you can use this one also. Okay. So these are the things. Now record all your useful references under there. And after having searched 2 or 3 sources, and then you can find out the progress of that one. Okay, so there are a lot of freely available, this kind of softwares are there. So use those tools and then conduct your literature review very smartly and efficiently. Okay, so then I don't have know that do I have time? So another part that I want to discuss is how to write a good abstract or a good research topic, research paper under this domain. If I have time, I can explain that things also. Okay. Structure of the paper. Are there any 4th year students in here? Only 1st years and 2nd years, no? Okay, anyway. Okay, before moving on to that part, are there any questions? We will come to the question and answer session for these things. Anything to discuss? Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the audience related to how to find out the research in the computing field and how to conduct a literature review? Okay, those points, are there any questions? Okay, so if not, I will go to the next part. Actually, for that, I am using some of them that they want to know that after you find out the literature review and your method. Okay, so how should I write a small abstract on that related part? Anything to any questions? Okay. Okay, so then I will explain you what is the abstract. Okay. Research paper, how to write a research paper, we will discuss later. You can get more idea, but the first attempt is to write an abstract. Okay, so this is also very important in how to, actually in the research methodology is, I previously also I told you it's a very vast area. Okay, so all these things can't be touched in 1 hour, but I find that what are the important things that I want to discuss today. So that's why first I discuss about how to find out the area and what are the research trends in the computing field. And then I'll come back to the literature review, and to do methods and everything we can discuss in later. And the next very important thing, how to publish and how to write these things in a proper manner. Okay, so abstract is a very important thing. So how to write abstract? So it is maybe your first attempt. Okay, and abstract is a piece of academic writing that serves to provide the reader with the summary of information about this specific topic. Okay, so then it can be a standard abstract. Okay, and this abstract could be a conducted research, and it can be a review article, it can be a book chapter, thesis, grant application, or project report. Okay, so in your project proposals, and when you write a thesis, as well as when you write a review article, you should have to write a good abstract. If prepared well, reader wants to learn more about your research. Okay, so abstract is a very, very important thing. Okay, so this is the scientific research paper, the basic structure. The title, it's their author application, and the abstract. And then the introduction, results, discussion, conclusions, and the references. Okay, so this is the basic structure of the abstract. There should be a background information, results, background information, and after that method, results, and the conclusion. Okay, so the next very important first thing is your title. How to some of them asked me to upload these things. I will share these things with you. Title. Okay, so important points in abstract writing is a title. It is the most widely read section. So when you write a title, I told you that after you read your literature review and that, you can write a good survey paper. Okay, so then in that survey paper, first you have to write down the title. So then this title should be very, very important. Okay, so it is an effective guide for scientific research to rapidly scan the topics. It should be informative, specific, simple one. Okay, so don't avoid using some words, studies on, investigation on, observation on. So avoid these words, and never use the abbreviations when you write down the title. Never use any trade name when you use the title. Okay, so these are the best practices that you can use to write a title. Okay, and the next one, So this is the a good example for a good title. Okay. So likewise, I got it another one. Okay. So investigation now, no point of indicating. Okay. So just write a title. Okay. So then this is the computer science abstract, one of my abstract. Task scheduling in cloud computing based on hybrid mode search algorithm and differential evaluation. So this is very specific. Okay, I'm not using any kind of jargons and any kind of things. Okay, it's a very specific. Okay, when you come to this kind of title, first you have to find out the area. So that I'm going to do my research in the cloud computing area. So first find out that area, and after that you find that the research gap. When you are reading cloud computing related papers, then you find that the research gap under the cloud computing area is this resource management. How to effectively manage the resources. So then I find the specific topic under that area. Then the task scheduling. Under there, that what kind of algorithm, what kind of technologies that I can use to solve that research problem. Okay, so then I found some kind of new algorithms. Using those kind of new algorithm, I can solve that research problem. The research problem is how can I decrease the resource, the energy consumption of the resource management in cloud. Okay, so that's the research problem. To address that research problem, that I find out some of the new algorithm to solve that problem. So then that's my research objective. And after that, I find this topic. Okay, so then that likewise you can write down the title. And then author list, application, corresponding author addresses, email addresses should be written after that. Is this a good title? What do you expect from this title? Is it specific enough to tell you what the article is about? Is it conscious enough to generate your interest, your opportunity to attract the reader's attention? Keep it informative and conscious, and avoid technical jargons and the abbreviations. And then the keywords. Keywords mainly used for indexing and the searching. Don't be narrow and neither too broad. Avoid abbreviation. Check the guide of the authors in those things. Okay. So I'm only show you the abstract for the the computing tools. This is the abstract. Okay. So language also should be conscious, objective, consistent, complete, and brief. Okay. So these are the tenses you can use, that the present tense, simple past tense, the present perfect tense you can use to write down these things. Okay. So then you can introduce your problem. Is a problem encountered it's still an open problem. So likewise, you can introduce the problem. Okay. So these are the words that you can use to introduce your research. Consider, discuss, investigate, study. So likewise, you can introduce your research. Okay, so this paper analyze some important characteristics. This article discuss the reason. So likewise, you can introduce your research. And then state the purpose, state the objective of your research. First, you find out the problem, introduce your problem, introduce your research, and state the objective of your research. What is the aim of your research? Okay, and then the content. Okay, so then how you are going to address this problem. Okay, so these are the verbs that I will share this document later, so you can, I'm not going to read each and every line in here. Okay, so later you can use these things. How to send, these are the patterns you can use. How I content this paper present the mathematical model. This paper is concerned with the analysis. This paper is devoted to the assessment. So likewise, you can explain the content and then you can describe your method. So after you find out the problem, objectives, and then there may be a method. Okay. So it can be you are going to propose a mathematical model or you are going to propose a new framework. Okay, so likewise, how you are going to propose a new framework, how you are going to validate it, what kind of software, hardware, methods that you are using, what kind of new algorithms that you are using. Okay, so those things you have to include in this section. And then finally, you should have to conclude it and put some recommendations. Okay, so these are the things that you can add for your abstract. And these are the sentence patterns that you can use to develop your abstract. Okay, so then I think now 1.5 hours I discussed these things. I think that's all for today's session. If now I will open the presentation, the audience for the question and answer session. If you have any things to discuss, now this is the time for that. Are there any questions?
Madam, පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්නද? අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් රිසර්ච් ටොපික් එකක් තෝරගනිද්දී ඒක පිළිබඳව කලින් කවුරු හරි රිසර්ච් එකක් කරලා තිබ්බොත් එතකොට මොකක් හරි විශේෂ ගයිඩ්ලයින්ස් ටිකක් අපි පිළිපදින්න ඕනද madam මොන හරි?
මේමයි. අපි රිසර්ච් ටොපික් එකක් වගේ දැන් මුලින්ම අර මං කෝ වගේ මුලින්ම අපි රිසර්ච් ඒරියා එකක් සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්න ඕනේ. හරි? දැන් ඒ රිසර්ච් ඒරියා එක ඇතුලේ ඊට පස්සේ අපි රිසර්ච් ටොපික් එකක් සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්නකොට ඒ රිසර්ච් ටොපික් එක දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ රිසර්ච් එක කරන නවලිටි එකක් තියෙනවනේ අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒක නවලිටි එකක් තියෙන. හැබැයි ඒ ටොපික් එකට අදාළ වෙන එක්සිස්ටිං රිසර්චර්ස් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි එතනදී භාවිතා කරන මෙතොලොජි එකට වෙනස් මෙතොලොජි එකක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ යූස් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒවා ඒ සමහරට ඔයගලන්ගේ ඒ තියෙන ඔයා කරන එකත් එක්ක එක්සිස්ටිං රිසර්ච් එක කම්පෙයාර් වෙන්න ඕන. අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔයාගේ රිසර්ච් එක ඇතුලේ ඊට වඩා වෙනස් මෙතොලොජි එකක් වෙනස් ඩේටා සෙට් එකක් through වෙන අලුත් ෆ්‍රේම්වර්ක් එකක් ඩෙවලොප් වෙන්න ඕනේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම. හැබැයි ඒ එක්සිස්ටිං රිසර්ච් ඔයාට ෆලෝ අප් කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Thank you.
නිපුල්. Are there any questions? APF මොන faculty ද? APF food science ද? Okay, so it's not the computing related area, no, but in the food science also, if you can do your research in collaboratively work with the computing field. Okay, so nowadays that many agriculture food sections also, that IoT technology, big data analytics, okay, blockchain actually. So those things are integrated with the food and nutritious research. Okay, so when you are doing your food science based research, you can collaboratively work with this computing field as well. I think APN is also natural resources, I think. So they also nowadays that the computing based research are not only for the computer science based students, Okay, so this cloud computing, big data analytics, IoT, and blockchain. Okay, so these things are integrated with different kinds of fields. So natural resources also, there are a lot of researchers are going on, and they are collaboratively, your researcher collaboratively connect with these technologies. Okay, so if you are interested to do your research in the natural resource, you also can find out how these natural resource researchers are combined with this cloud computing, IoT technologies, and big data analytics technologies, and data mining, machine learning. Okay, so those things also is you can add it to your research as well. And chemistry and other things also. Yes, any one questions, madam, if you see. Yes, there are, one student asked, madam, is there any rules and regulations that we have to obey when we write a research paper? Yes, there are some rules and regulations are there. Okay, so most of them rules and regulations are different from conferences to conferences and the journals to journals. The most one rule is you can't use another researcher's work. The plagiarism policy, it should be there, that 30% normally. Okay, you can't get that. When you write a literature review, you can get some other things from other papers and those things, but your plagiarism score should be less than 30%. So that's the one rule when you write a research paper. Okay, so then you can't, when you use some other data sources or some other databases and some other funds, you should have to cite all these things. Okay, so that's another rule. So when you write a paper, okay, research paper for a conference, actually today I don't have time to show you that research conferences and journals. Okay, when you write a research paper for a conference or journal, first thing you should have to read the guidelines there. Okay, in their author guidelines, they clearly mention all the rules and regulations that you should have to obey. Okay, so another student asked about that illegally cracked softwares like Endnote, will the research get disqualified? Okay, so I think for the Endnote maybe there are maybe some cracked softwares, but I recommended for you to use the original Endnote. But today I show you the Mendeley. In the Mendeley also, it's freely available one. You can do lot of works using Mendeley. Yes. Yes, madam, the abstract yes, part is concluded. Also in the research paper, in the end, we write a conclusion. Are they including things in these two parts different? Or yes, it's same. All the research papers, the final part is the conclusion and the recommendation. Okay, so there's a, in the first thing that you, in the abstract or research paper, finally you should have to conclude it. So conclude, when you write a conclude, you should have to say that your main objective should be achieved in the conclusion, and also in the research section, you should have to show it in a mathematical and scientific way, that the qualitative way. You can't say that just my research is effectively, my solution is get the good results. Okay, you can't write as it is. You have to write and you have to show it mathematically and the percentage ways, this amount of things that I got the correct output and correct result. So mathematically, quantitative way, you should have to write in the conclusion, and you said that my research is work and my objective is achieved under these circumstances. And also in the conclusion part, it's better to mention some recommendations, future enhancement point, that this research can be added, these kind of future things. and we can develop it more like that. So you can add some recommendations points also. Yes. Are there anything to discuss? Okay, so if yes. Should we give any comparison in algorithms in research paper as well? Yes. So when you are proposing a new algorithm, so it can be a mathematical algorithm that in my research, sometimes I'm using engineering. We are doing engineering cloud computing applications. Under there, we are using some existing algorithms that use for another purposes. And sometimes we are going to develop a new algorithm. Sometimes we are going to use a hybrid algorithms. Okay. So then in my algorithm, my proposed algorithm should be compare with the existing one. Comparison in algorithm is very, very important. Okay. So you should have to, that's why I told you in any kind of research, it should be evaluated. It should be evaluated. Okay. You should have to evaluate your system. Okay. That means you can't say that my algorithm and my solution, my method is the most feasible solution. You can't say like that. You should have to verify it. Okay. You should have to verify and you should have to compare with the existing solution. And then only you can say, this is the most feasible solution. This is the most effective solution. Other than that, without comparison, you can't say as it is. Can we provide assumptions in the research paper? Yes, definitely. You can provide some assumptions in the research papers. Okay, so when you are developing a method, you can write down some assumptions. Okay, so these are some of the assumptions that I am going to write. So likewise, you can provide some assumption, but it should be also just not like assumption. You should have to present it in a you have to write it in a mathematical way. Okay, so this assumption, it should be validated. Okay, the assumption also this should be validated. Are there anything? Okay, so Vimarshana is there. Okay, so then if not, if there are no any other questions, then I can end this session. If you have any problem, anything, okay, so I will share my email address with you. I think most of them know my email address. I will share the email address with you. If you have anything, okay, related to your research in computing field or any other research methodology part, you can drop an email to me and I will try to help you. Yes.
Let me thank you on the behalf of the organizing committee, Faculty of Applied Sciences, for the wonderful and knowledgeable session. And I think that we all got a good knowledge throughout this session. First, our guest speaker, Dr. Pubudhan Jayasena, Senior Lecturer, Department of Computing and Information Systems, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. Thank you, madam, for your contribution and everything. And all the people who supported and guided to make this event success. Then thank you all of you, organizing committee members, technical team, and our participants. Without you, we cannot conduct a successful event like this. This will remark the end of the first webinar. Hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you.